Hello everybody, 'tis I, the Rumpled One. I just had a slight revelation. I do a lot of reading, but I also listen to some educational, motivational tapes from time to time, and I've been listening to my Anthony Robbins Personal Power series again. I first heard it back, I think it was about 1986, 87, somewhere along there. And then one of my greatest thrift store finds in about 1995 or 6, I got the entire box set for $5, but that's kind of off topic. You see, in the Personal Power set, Anthony Robbins talks about how people think they want something, but actually what they want is the feeling that something gives them. For example, he uses marriage, because people don't want marriage, they want that feeling they get, the feeling that they feel loved, or they feel secure, or they feel a part of something. So in other words, the thing triggers a feeling. And as you know, I've done a couple videos about Abercrombie and Fitch and what their CEO said a few years ago about how they just want their clothes, they're targeting the cool kids because they don't want the non-cool kids wearing their clothes, and that's why they don't make them in big sizes. And then I was just reading in a fitness magazine where there's this one fitness club that this one club you need to lose 50 pounds or more, otherwise they don't let you in the club. So I couldn't get in the club. And there's this other club that they refer to women over size 14 as chunky. And all this just came together, and I just realized it. You see, all this political correctness is because you don't want to quote-unquote hurt somebody's feelings, which we know there's only one person that can hurt your feelings, and that's you. I can't hurt your feelings, and you can't hurt mine. It's how we process the information. As Anthony Robbins would say, it's the associations we make. So, by changing the words, it changes the state. So if you call somebody fat, well, they will associate something negative to it. But maybe if you call them chunky, well, then they might think of a chunky chocolate chip cookie or something, and that's not so bad. But all of that masks certain dynamics. And so, rather than face the problem and do something about the problem or the situation, such as in the case, lose weight, well, let's change what we call it so then you don't really have to do anything about it because it's okay. See where I'm going with this? Now, am I saying it's not okay for somebody to be fat? Hey, it's their choice, it's their body. What they want to do with it's their business. But the point is that, as Anthony Robbins would say, actually as Ringer would say, actions have consequences. So if you overeat and you fail to exercise and you start to put pounds on, then maybe you're fat, maybe you're chunky, maybe you're obese, maybe you're overweight. It doesn't matter what you call it. A rose is still a rose. And I can't remember what one of the viewers said, hey, you know what? Whether my shirt is tucked or untucked, the fat kid's still the fat kid. And everybody knows who the fat kid is. That's one dynamic. And you see, there's a second dynamic. I'm in the process of reading this book called Influence. It's a psychology book. And remember, if you're a long-time viewer of mine, I've been reading these books like New and Wrapped and a few others. Let's see, what was the other one? Not Blink. I forget. But I've been reading these psychology books that talk about the brain and how we make decisions and why we make decisions and who's controlling those decisions. And you see the second dynamic in this that I'm talking about in the book, Influence. It says if you have a group of people and you can arbitrarily divide them into two groups, what happens? Well, each group kind of takes on part of a group identity, and then they start maybe, talking bad about the other group, and then maybe it can, start to get into some type of violence. And that's all you have to do is just divide. So you have people divided in the fat people, non-fat people. And once you do that, you start to fight. It's just natural. It's a very interesting dynamic. And once you learn these type of things, you can then see the world from this perspective, and things start to fall into place. You start to see things and how they're working, how they're interrelated. I like to ponder these things. So the point of this discussion is that we have to understand that we don't have to accept what some label that somebody puts on us. I mean, Harry Brown was big on saying, don't label, don't use labels. Because, see, these words only have power if you give them power. You hear a word, what do you associate up here? That's what gives the word power. Like I said, I've been called every derogatory name in the book. But, as I mentioned, my grandmother told me consider the source. So when somebody who doesn't know me, mumbles some slur or yells it out, it doesn't bother me. I just know now where that person lies, what kind of person they are. So I know how to deal with them. It's the person that thinks it and doesn't say it, that's the one that's going to cause me problems, because I might not realize what they're thinking, how they truly feel. So when you see the media or hear the media or anybody try to put a label on you or somebody else and call, the X's and the non-X's, the Y's or the non-Y's, the Z's or the non-Z's, you don't have to accept their labels. You don't. You can reject them. So if the CEO of A&F, Abercrombie and Fitch, makes a comment about cool kids, you don't have to accept those labels. He doesn't get to define cool kids. In his mind, he can say, well, the kids that can fit in my clothes, those are the cool kids. But that doesn't mean they're the cool kids. It just means he calls them the cool kids. Now, if you believe what he says, then guess what? Remember the ghetto physics, pimps and hoes? He's putting what's in his mind into your mind. Now you are his hoe. See how that works? See, that's why I say I watch these videos, listen to these tapes, read these books, and it all comes together. And so that's what you have to look out for. Don't let anybody put something into your mind without you challenging it, questioning it. And Jane L., thanks a lot for the video response, because what you said is dead on. We're all individuals. We don't want to produce, one type of kid. You put all the kids in school and they all come out the same. No. That's not what we want. That's not what people want as parents. What we want as a society, or we want individuals. We want people to learn. Yeah, everybody should learn the basics: reading, writing, arithmetic. Maybe learn some things about our Constitution. Learn a little history. Maybe some philosophy, geography, art, music, some culture. things of that nature. So each person could then be all they can be, right? Just like the Army. So I hope this video maybe will clear a few things up on this whole Abercrombie and Fitch thing and freedom of speech and somebody being mean. Yeah, well, if they be mean, so they're being mean. But then again, that's for you to determine and me to determine. Just because you say it's mean doesn't make it mean. You think it's mean. Just because I say it's not mean doesn't mean it's not mean. You just said that I say it's not mean. Right, Cat 1? The point is that don't be somebody else's hoe by letting that pimp put their mind into your head. That's the main message, just like in the Ghetto Physics movie. And that's what's going down here. And once again, I want to say thank you for watching and listening. I really love the replies. And if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. And I'd like to hear more comments on this. Though I think I may have figured it all out, but there's always something more to ponder. So I will be reading more and pondering more. And I'll be finished that book, Influence. I'll be doing a book review on it. It's a really good book. And for those of you who like my book reviews and say I cause you to buy more books, well, that's a good thing, in my opinion. Because education and physical exercises are the only two things that most people will accept less than their money's worth. So if you're having to buy extra books or you go work out more because of something I've said or suggested, well then good. Anyway, thanks again for watching and listening, and stay tuned, and we'll see you soon.